Hello and welcome to the In the Money Players podcast. This is our show. What day is it today? I don't even know. No, I do know because I have a flight to catch in a couple hours. Tuesday, July 29th, PTF back with you in this very echoey room here. Hopefully the sound is coming out okay on your end. I am in San Francisco, about to head back to New York, have a little routine medical procedure. I won't mince words. It's a colonoscopy, routine follow-up stuff. And then I get to come up to Saratoga. So sort of fun, not so fun, but very important. And then back to the fun. Very excited about the whole thing. Joining me today, as on so many of these shows, is the man who founded this podcast / video network with me. I'm not that big a fan of the hat. I prefer when he rocks the Met stuff as opposed to my team's arch rival in the sport of hockey. But there he is from Saratoga Springs. He's Jonathan Kinch. And JK, what's up?
Yeah, the hockey, I have no hockey allegiances. I guess once the new Belmont Park opens, I can make the switch over and I don't feel like I'm jumping. But I root for the other.
You realize, JK, in your parlance, that's going from a Texas fan to a Texas A&M fan. It's not easy.
That's all right. It's fine. It's not a big deal. My allegiance are with horse racing, and one of them's closer to a horse. One of them's closer to the quarter pole. One of them, my favorite hockey team is whoever's closest to the quarter pole. I like the Florida Panthers because of our friend Vinny Viola. So,
yep.
That's
a reasonable choice.
Is this the deepest into the Saratoga meet you've ever made your maiden appearance?
Well, I mean, I view it, if I hadn't been for Belmont weekend and 4th of July weekend, it would have been really hard to wait this long. But I have to tell you, and warning right now, people, it sounds like we're going to do lots of nonsense on this shorter show, but I think we have to because it's just been that long since we've talked. This could be the new normal. Because this summer camp that Perrin went to out here in Northern California, she liked so much. She wants to come back for an extra week next year. And I just feel better if I'm, on the same coast as her when she's in a situation like this, especially because this year, I didn't even tell you this yet, I don't think. I was originally supposed to be in San Diego basically this whole time until pickup, but she had she coughed one day and they have some sort of dated COVID era policy where you have to take them out of camp for 24 hours. So I had to pull the ripcord on the San Diego trip on Monday and come up here. But you know how we do it. One of our mantras in business and in life, how do you turn a negative into a positive? Well, we did by just tacking on a bunch of extra San Francisco / Northern California days. And it ended up great. So I could see this becoming more of a normal thing where I'm out here for a couple stretches. I don't know, my old age, JK, like the heat back east really gets to me more. And it's my weather out here, man. 60s. It's, it's typically sunny every day, but it's not the dealing with the grossness and, modern stuff. I'm still following as much as ever, just on the phone. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it evolves, but I'll tell you this, and this was part of my theory with the Saratoga meet being so long now. I am looking forward almost like I used to coming up there for the 3 to 4 weeks that I'm going to be there. So what have I missed? How's it been without me?
You saw there was a good horse that ran on Saturday. There's
dive right into that.
Couple of fun maidens. No, it's just been good. It actually cooled down a little bit last week, but it has been unbearable for some of the days. But it looks like it's going to be kind of cool. It's a little hot today and tomorrow, and then it looks like it kind of cools down into some like 70s type of situation. So that's good.
Now you're speaking my language. Before we get into, obviously, we're going to recap there's a bunch of races we got to talk about clearly, and some that we haven't even talked about yet. But I just more generally speaking, how's the meet gone for you? Any stories to share?
I'm trying to think of anything. No, it's been good. Like we haven't, it's I'm trying to think of anything crazy or wild that's happened.
You usually have a funny story, get into an altercation or something. No, nobody, everybody's behaving themselves.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. No altercations. No, I'm trying to think if there's anything. No, I can't. I'm thinking hard.
Just
no, everyone's been on their best behavior.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot cooking these days. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, my friend. And I mean, yeah, you've alluded to the quote unquote good horse who reappeared, Sovereignty making his return to the races. He ran one of his slower figures recently, just the 104 buyer speed figure. Once again, this horse when he goes through the gears and lays down that challenge in the lane, it looked to me visually, and the clock backs this up, that Baeza took a step forward. And, in other videos, we've talked about Baeza as a horse talented enough to win a Derby in some years. And again, the figures back that up. And that's where he was already. He stepped forward. Sovereignty still said, no, I'm the better horse. I'm going to get my nose down on the line first. What did Sovereignty show you in this race, the Jim Dandy, the other day?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, right when he popped away from there, I was during the Fox show, I was sitting next to Andy Serling, and I said, man, this horse has gotten really good, because he just bounced away from there with it almost looked like he could have made the lead if he wanted to. That's how well he broke. And I think that's a sign of a horse who's doing really well when they pop away from there like that. So that was the first thing. And then on the backside, when he just found himself kind of in that wide position, and there's a point right when they're approaching the half-mile pole that I think in the Travers, or a big race, Grade 1 race, where Junior would have used Sovereignty to keep Baeza in that spot. But Junior looked over and said, yeah, go ahead, man, I'll let you out. And he basically just kind of took back, let Baeza go, and confidently ran him down. The way that he reached and extended in the stretch, I thought was outstanding. The 104 to me is him running a 104 in a race at a distance that he doesn't necessarily want to be running at, without a pace to close into to pull him faster. And the one thing that I'll continue to feel about Sovereignty as I make decisions about him moving forward in his next 3 or 4 races is the way that he ran by who I think is a generational talent in journalism, the way that he ran by him twice, specifically in the Belmont Stakes, is all the proof in the world that I need how damn good Sovereignty is. And let's not forget, he's a 3-year-old. Let's not forget how much better Fierceness and Sierra Leone got as the year went on. I would expect the same from Sovereignty. And by the time he gets to that final version of himself in that first weekend in November, these older horses might be in trouble.
We'll talk about that a little bit more in another video. Since you mentioned journalism, Nick and I did the recap last week, so you and I actually haven't talked about the Haskell. You said something that made me think about journalism, but not – and look, journalism is – my favorite horse in training. I love journalism. I kind of hate the fact that now this will be the second time in a row I've talked about journalism on the show in terms where I have to say that it's going to be hard for him to turn the tables on Sovereignty. But to your point about how well Sovereignty broke the other day and how often that can portend further improvement in a horse, I think we kind of saw the opposite from journalism, where he didn't get away from there well. He took a long time to react to his riders' urging, and just scraped home against horses that are not of the same quality of Baeza and Sovereignty. Are we getting to a point with journalism where it's horse racing, anything can happen? Of course, I'm not going to say he can never beat Sovereignty, but where he's going to really need things to go his way to prove the equal of Sovereignty? Is that fair to say at this point?
No, I mean, I think, he's obviously probably not going to come for the Travers. I mean, I don't fault them for that. They earned the right to take the path of least resistance, because they didn't take the path of least resistance throughout the Triple Crown, and coming back over for the Haskell. So, they've earned the right to do whatever they decide is best for the horse. And I would imagine Nisos's 102 probably makes them feel like, why not? Let's just stay here and run on the same racetrack that we'll be trying to win the Classic on.
Yeah.
But the problem is that him not coming to the Travers eliminates all chances of him getting champion 3-year-old. Because I think even if he were to win the Classic, his Santa Anita Derby, his runner-up in the Preakness and the Belmont, his runner-up in the Derby and the Belmont, and his Preakness win, I don't think would be enough to overcome Sovereignty beating him on the square twice and winning the Travers. You know what I mean? I think that Sovereignty would probably still be the 3-year-old champion. And I would imagine that's important to them, especially them being Coolmore and the fact that they're going to stand this horse. So I still am hoping that he'll show up, but I feel like after what happened with Sovereignty, he's probably not going to. Journalism feels like a type of horse that's going to be 8-1, 10-1 in the Classic, and will offer some value and a nice full field with real pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
big full field could make me in trouble, and that could make the difference easily.
Yeah, I think journalism will beat Nisos, and we'll have an exciting showdown. But And we'll see what happens this weekend with Fierceness and White Barrio and Sierra Leone. I mean, this could be one hell of a classic. I can tell you that much.
It's looking amazing. We'll talk more about it, like we said in the other video we're going to do promoting our horse player happy hour. Oh, I used the old branding. I dead named our tournament. The ITM Horse Players Tour continues. We're going to have a recap video about that. We want you to play on Friday. $20 gets you into that. You have multiple ways of winning a BCBCC. But the tournaments I most want you to worry about this weekend, don't know. One of these you will not be in. One of them you might be. But our friends at Little Red Feather have the LRF Cares Charity Challenge. Entries are open. Del Mar only. Online only. On Saturday. If you want to play in the tournament in Vegas, this is a great way to do it because they're supporting charity. It's our friends at Little Red Feather, and it's just an easy and fun way to play. It's a couple $100. You can feed your way in. It's absolutely worth checking out. That one is happening over on horsetourneys.com on Saturday. Our tournament is on Friday. Our little feeder is on Friday. Play on horseplayers.com. Play in both of those. Also, Monmouth Park. Now, this one, you with your recent history of success at Monmouth Park might be getting involved in. They've got a Whitney Saratoga Monmouth game that I also want folks to check out. You can play that at participating ADWs. Go to monmouthpark.com and make sure you check that out. Well, will we see your name among the leaders, or is that too much multitasking even for you?
Yeah, it's tough. The Fox days are a little bit tricky just because, we it's just a little bit of a heavier lift than normal.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be too tough. Probably.
That's not a no. That's not a no.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've done it before, but we'll see. We'll see how much work I can get done this week with all the, like you said, all the stuff that's going on. And sometimes it gets a little.
I know generally though, you're a huge fan of Brian Skirka and those Monmouth Park contests. I know
absolutely. Yeah, no, I would play for sure if I wasn't on network television for 3 hours.
Yeah, there you go. monmouthpark.com. Navigate over to the contest. There's another one coming up on Travers. Brian Skirka does a fabulous job. Great prizes. And you may or may not get the chance to beat JK and talk trash to him on the internet. He loves that, people. He loves that. Let's talk about the Pacific Class. Actually, no. I commented on Baeza. I didn't get you to comment on Baeza. What do you think about this horse? I mean, it feels like those are the two to take out, obviously, of the Dandy. I mean, we told you Hill Road would represent the value. If you were smarter than me and really keyed up on him in third rather than second, maybe you could have made a score. But they were far back. I mean, it was a race between those top two. If you're Baeza, do you just keep along this path and hope he keeps getting better? Or are you in a position now where you're thinking of some other targets? Or are you just circling Travers, Breeders' Cup, and being done with it?
He's the third best 3-year-old, and I feel very confident about that. So I don't think he's better than Journalism or Sovereignty. I guess there's a world in which he could go back home and do the same thing Journalism's going to do. I'm not sure what Sheriff's plan is with all that, or keep him out here, run him in the Travers, or maybe even keep him out here and just train him up to the Pennsylvania Derby or something. I'm not really sure what path they'll take with him, but I don't see a world. I mean, let's think about it. Journalism's beat him twice. Sovereignty's beat him twice. Just
more.
3 times.
Yeah.
I get it. He's getting a little bit better. He's maturing a little bit more and more every time, but I just think he's the third best.
You're doubtless correct right now. I do see there's an argument that Journalism, with his exertions this year and the last race versus the last race from Baeza, that it wouldn't shock me if Baeza could reverse form with him in a race like the Pac Classic. But, we'll talk about that if and when it happens. You're right. There's so many interesting opportunities. We don't need to get too theoretical when we still have a few really important races to talk about, including that Pacific Classic. I was extremely inarticulate in what I was trying to say with Nick on Friday, talking about the Pacific Classic. What I was trying to say was that I thought from a sport point of view, what was interesting, sporting point of view, I'm not English, point of view, what I thought was most interesting about that was how good is Nysos going to look and how will that affect what Journalism does. If Nysos had run off the screen and looked like he wanted every inch of a mile and a quarter, I really thought there was in that limited scenario, there was a chance we'd see journalism. Things as they are, I agree with you, JK. I don't think the team journalism would have seen anything to scare them away of the staying home plan. There was also a whisper, just a whisper in one of the articles about maybe training journalism up to the Breeders' Cup Classic if he doesn't seem, because he's a kick down the doors kind of horse who tells you when he wants to run. I think that's why they did the ambitious Haskell plan, even though previously they had stated that they weren't overly keen on doing that. So the horse will clearly tell them what the plan is. But yeah, it just feels like journalism Nisos could be a terrific race. And I'd be hoping that the class journalism shown and the distance will bring him back towards the grade one, the proper best version of journalism. That's certainly what I want to see in the Pacific Classic. Is that what you think is going to happen? He'll turn up there and win?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. And I think he would win. He's got a chance to improve a little bit. He'll have some pace to close into because Nisos is always going to be, at least the forward-ish type. So, yeah, I think that's what they'll probably do.
Any other Saratoga races that have blown your mind that you've been dying to talk about or share any thoughts on? I definitely want to talk a little King George because there's major Breeders' Cup implications with that race for reasons we'll get into. Definitely want to talk Bing Crosby. That was certainly an interesting race, but if there's other stuff at Saratoga that's been at the tip of your brain, we should do that real quick.
No, nothing really jumps out. Trying to remember. Nothing over the top. I thought that the filly that ran the other day for Todd was probably the most impressive, 2-year-old filly we saw. The filly Tommy Joe for Spendthrift.
Yeah,
she was good. She got an 85 buyer and looked like she was going to continue to improve. So I thought she ran well. That's really kind of the only one that jumped off the page. But this weekend obviously it's gonna ramp up quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to be back with our Baby Talk episodes, too, for our friends at Keeneland Sales. Looking forward to getting to dive into some of those pedigrees and talk about some of that stuff. We haven't done our production meeting outside the show, and I won't make you commit to one in the show now, but lots of fun stuff to talk about. We're going to just have coverage. I don't know if you've had a chance to look, but, these grade ones came up strong on Saturday. There's a lot of fun. There's at least 3 maiden races that are worthy of dissection on Baby Talk, so we'll be getting into all that. Let me do my couple of minutes on the King George. So this race, usually with these English horses and Irish horses, it's a little tricky because obviously everybody loves the Breeders' Cup, but the Arc is the biggest race for almost all of these horses. But Calandigan, who won the King George, he's not eligible to run in the Arc because he's a gelding. So that's pretty exciting for the Breeders' Cup in that I have a feeling the Breeders' Cup turf is going to become the number one target for this horse. I've been a big fan on his best bits of form. I'm seeing him in betting markets now as short as 11-4, 3-1 for the race. So it feels like they probably are targeting it. This was a nice win the other day. Aga Khan colors. These are the kind of European shippers, JK, in the past I know have given you the warm and fuzzies when they come over. Always a very difficult race to talk about months out when we don't know exactly who's turning up. I'm not going to make you commit to an opinion here, though I will say it is also presumed that Rebels Romance will be coming back again after that awesome race at Ascot. But it feels like a year where your BCBC might be going all Europe in the Breeders' Cup turf.
Yeah, and I love it when there's 2 of them. That way a bad trip doesn't get you beat. There's still enough equity in those pools that an aggressive play into the Classic with locking up those. It's been a move that's worked okay for me a couple of times. So that's it's always good news when there's some really good ones in there.
Let's talk about Breeders' Cup Sprint. Lovesick Blues, big price, but didn't run like a big price. Gets the job done. Major time figure here, 105. Has this horse now vaulted himself into contention in your brain for the Breeders' Cup Sprint among some of the horses we've been talking through the year? Does sound like they are going to supplement, so he will be participating.
Yeah, when look, it's when it's a home game. and you can pull it off over there. I wasn't paying full attention, but this is the one with the big odds drop, right?
Yes, there was a big odds drop in this race.
Yeah, I saw Marshall had posted something about that. Yeah, I mean it's one of those situations where when I looked at that race, there wasn't any like absolute stone cold killers in there. Sometimes there can be. There'd be a horse that's, triple digit type horse, and that didn't really exist. So it sets up for horses like that in situations like this. And yeah, if you can win a race like that on that home course, and you're going to be back there in the fall, definitely puts you in the mix as a player.
Yeah, home field advantage is certainly a thing in racing, and especially at the Breeders' Cup. And it does sometimes feel like, especially at Del Mar as well, made good ground to run down that loose Hijazi and win clear in the end. Thinking about that Breeders' Cup Sprint division, I mean, it's going to be runners like Bookham, Dano, and Mulligan, presumably at the top of the market. I mean, figures-wise, this horse would be competitive with those. I'm such a big Bookham Dano fan. That would be a fun story to follow.
Very cool horse, and the Connections are a group of guys that just like to hang out at Monmouth, bought a horse. Now they got a really good one. So. And I think his style is going to appreciate, a fast 6 furlongs where horses are running in front of him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Bookham Dano. Obviously, we've got some in the money partnership interest these days in the sire Buchero, who's been ripping it up, and really the adventure just beginning for him when it comes to racing in New York. Very grateful to our friends over there for sponsoring our free Saratoga analysis, which you can read every day from Nick Tamaro over at inthemoneypodcast.com. For much more on Saratoga and Del Mar, you can also subscribe to our In the Money Plus service, inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. You get Nick's notebook and Frank Scatoni's Frankly Speaking column there, keeping track of bias. They're giving horses to watch. They're picking races. They're telling stories. It's great stuff that you get when you are an In the Money Plus subscriber. Got another minute or two, JK, if there's anything to say, or we can leave this one here. What else is on your mind?
I got a good card talk coming, and I did Ron Flotter's podcast this morning, and I teased it, but I didn't say it because I was going to save it to tell ours. But it's an idea I've had for a long time, and it just so happens this weekend it worked out perfectly, and I got both of them to agree. I am going to have on Card Talk this week Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Johnny V there for a second.
No,
I like this even better. You can get a little back and forth going with those two. Oh, that's great.
So it should be fun. We're going to record that tomorrow, so make sure you guys check that out. It'll I think if we record it tomorrow, edit it, it'll probably air on Thursday's show.
Terrific. And that's all. That stuff is findable as well afterwards on YouTube, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I post them. Sometimes they wait a little bit, but they'll be on YouTube occasionally, yeah.
You can always send out the replay of the actual show with it time coded in there,
Yes.
Not bad.
Yeah, because it's on YouTube. All the Saratoga lives are on YouTube, so you can, if you know that it came out on a day, you can also just like fast forward through it until you see it. I mean, it's not the.
Oh, don't make the poor people scrub.
Well, just scrub the thing. It's just one of these. There's only like one time where someone's in a golf cart. You
could get bogged down in some strange ad. Anyway, that sounds awesome. I'm pumped to check that out. Pumped to get up to Saratoga. Pumped to get to spend some time with you, my friend. You'll get more from us very, very soon. It might be dropped even before. No, this will drop first, but very soon we're going to have our ITM Horse Player Tour update. We're going to be giving credit to the people who won. We're going to talk a little bit more specifically about the Classic, maybe even talk about some of the current prices available for that race, and encourage you to get involved once again over at horseplayers.com on Fridays. $20 to play. House cut goes to charity. 2 ways to win a Breeders' Cup betting challenge seat. That's it for this show. Please, if you're on the In the Money Media YouTube channel, subscribe. That helps us out tremendously. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think we got right, what we think we got wrong in talking about this video, what you're looking forward to this weekend, whatever's on your mind. Share it with us. We love to see that and get a chance to interact with you. For JK, I'm PTF. May you win all your photos.